were snagged in this curfew and had to go to court and had to pay an attorney to come and help defend them or whatever the case may be.
Right.
What would you say to those people that feel like they're being unfairly targeted or included in this that is something they shouldn't be included in?
Right. Life is not fair. I understand that they have obviously, they have made a different decision than to go to the regular school, and that the law is for the regular school. It's not for everyone. The fact that they have had to pay a lawyer, I'm very sorry that that's happening to them because of other people's bad decisions. There's laws that we all have to go by today because of other people's bad decisions. It's this is not a real good example, but it is an example. We don't allow our kids to wear hats on campus. And it's not because we don't like caps, but it's because it shows us what kids are not supposed to be on our campus. So we have to say, you can't wear a cap because this other kid that came in to start a fight was not supposed to be on our campus. He happened to have a cap on, and if you hadn't worn yours. Laws are made for everybody, but most of the time they only pertain to a certain amount of people. And it's not fair that that they have to go by this law, but because the majority of our kids are in regular schools, we have to make the law to help them be successful.
Do you feel like this ordinance walks on or takes away or impacts their personal liberties and freedoms to move about freely without the fear of perhaps being stopped by an officer? Because when I hear about the students being fearful, that's why they're staying in school. Well, again, conversely, we have people that shouldn't be subjected to this that are feeling fearful as well.
A simple phone call by the police is all it takes is to clarify that. And I've had a phone call before asking me if this student was supposed to be at Trinity High School or they were supposed to be over, or whether they were supposed to be at work or not. And I looked up on their schedule, and I said, no, they're supposed to be at work. So I feel like, the police are asking, and the kid says, I'm a homeschooler. Why can't he call home and say, is your child really a homeschooler? Or call our school and say, is this kid enrolled in HEB school district? I've answered that question before on the phone.
My point exactly. Aren't there remedies in this ordinance that deals with this very question? I know when we passed this ordinance back in September,
Folks, let's keep it down.
that we intentionally made sure that there were remedies
Yes, sir.
in this ordinance that would prevent such an event from happening, and they would not have to go to a lawyer to
Right.
to pay a lawyer for.
And I'm going to say, my students that have gotten the tickets, I guarantee you they didn't have a lawyer because they couldn't afford one. So having to have a lawyer to go to the court to prove themselves, I don't know why they would need a lawyer, my personal opinion.
It would
I have
never
not
get
been
to
to
that
court.
point.
I have not been to court to find that out. That's correct.
Well, just one more comment on that. I believe those are defense to prosecution, what you're talking about. Is that correct, Stan? The exceptions or exemptions, or that's what we're calling the defense to prosecution, right?
Yeah, that is correct, but I believe also it should be pointed out that there is a provision in the ordinance that requires the police officer to confirm that any of the violations occur before they actually take any action. That's a provision in the existing ordinance. So you are correct, is a defense to prosecution, but there's also an enforcement provision that speaks to the officer being compelled to actually ask the apparent offender if any of the exceptions apply before a citation is issued.
Okay, I was just handed this. This might answer a little bit of your question. It says on the enforcement, before taking any enforcement action under this section, a police officer shall ask the apparent offender's age and reason for being in the public place. The officer shall not issue a citation or make an arrest under this section unless the officer reasonably believes that an offense has occurred. So, the policeman normally will ask and find out whether, and I think most of the truancy tickets that we've gotten, they have actually brought the kid to the school and given it. I know the couple that I've seen, they've given them the ticket in my office when they brought him back to school. Yes, sir.
I was just curious, have you had incidences where someone who has been either ticketed or reprimanded has been actually grateful later on down because...
A couple of parents, yes, sir.
I thought that might be the case. I
Yes.
look forward to that, having that kind of intervention, and then somebody coming back 6 months later and saying, thank God that happened to me because it put me on the straight and narrow.
Because I know on all three of those incidents, I've always called the parent right then and told them that their child was brought to school by the police, that they were given a truancy ticket.
Anything else? Okay.
Thank
Thank you
you
very
very
much for
much.
coming. Next is Robert Towns, has requested to speak